Okay. I have tried to go live 3 times today, and I think that just really says it all. So, I'm gonna just take this as a message that, this chaotic energy can try to stop us, but we are going to persevere. I let everyone know in the initial live stream. Oh my god, I hope you guys can hear me because if it doesn't work the 3rd time, then I'm going to just take it as a message from the universe that this is not meant to happen today. I literally almost didn't do this live today, and then I was like, "No, I really wanna connect with you guys," and okay, Bonnie, thank you for literally, thank you for being here with me because this has been a journey this morning, and I really wanted to connect with you guys. I just felt like it was really important today in particular. So, thank you to those of you who have stuck with me through this little roller coaster that we've been on. Yes, Zach, 3rd time's the charm. Thank you guys so much. I don't know if you guys heard anything that I was saying in the last one. Um, so I'll just give you guys a minute to answer in the chat. Did you hear what hello, hi. Did you hear what I was saying in the last one about daily rituals? You wanna know what the daily rituals are? Okay, amazing. Glad to have you here from Argentina, and Jareo, thank you for being here. Thank you guys so much for being here. So, yeah, I'm gonna get right into it because I do have an appointment in about 40 minutes that I'll need to prepare for. But yeah, I wanted to just talk about the daily rituals that I'm using to stay centered and grounded and aligned at this time. Somebody asked, his name was Patrick Kiefer. He asked what my typical rituals and routines are. And what I was sharing in the last live when I was talking to no one because the connection wasn't working was that I feel like there's significance to that too, which I maybe we'll get into in a second. But what I was sharing before was that I'm not about being chained to routines and rituals. I'm really passionate about freedom. Like that is the priority for me. So something that I like to ask myself in any given moment is, does this feel like freedom to me? Does this create more freedom in my life? Does this create deeper connection to my heart and my soul? Or is this really coming from programming or what I think I should do? So I kind of wrote down 3 little areas that I like to make sure that I nurture every single day. And the first thing that I like to do in the morning is create some form of presence. So connecting to my heart, that could be just putting my hand on my heart, taking a moment to take a breath and, say something kind to myself, say, "Good morning, Michaela. I hope that you had a good sleep. I'm right here with you." And I used to do this in the mirror every single morning when my nervous system was really dysregulated because going into meditation when I was really in that freeze state made it feel like I was dissociating and that I wasn't really feeling super connected to myself. So that's why I'm really big on variety because every person needs something different. So asking yourself, how can I be present with myself today? Do I need to look at myself in the eye in the mirror? Do I need to stimulate some self-touch? Do I want to have a conversation with myself about my dreams last night? Really anything that brings a sense of presence into your day is a really great way to start your day and a really great way to stay grounded and centered, even if you're feeling chaotic, because it will help you to address that, right? If there's chaos within you and around you, this is what's going to help you to really remain connected to yourself, even when your outer world is feeling really chaotic. So that's the first thing is I like to ask is how can I presence myself today? And if you guys could drop some emojis in the chat, if you're still here with me, that's great because I was talking for quite a while last time and didn't realize that my connection was off. I am literally on top of my Wi-Fi router right now. So if the connection is off, then it is what it is. But yeah, I'd just love to know that you guys are still here with me. Um, and so amazing. Thank you, Bonnie. You're my rock. So, okay, the next thing that I like to ask myself on a daily basis is how can I connect to my physical body? And this is something that was quite a battle with me for a while. I don't really talk about this as much anymore because it's not something that I'm currently having to work through as much, although it does show up. But I used to really struggle with just a very unhealthy relationship with my body. And now I've gotten to this place where I'm incredibly devoted to listening to what my body needs rather than trying to control it. And I used to literally like go to the gym and lift super heavy weights every day of the week. And by the way, this is not me saying that the gym is bad or wrong for everyone, but for me, it was a really, it wasn't the right thing for my body. I was really needing something a little bit more nurturing. And I still do like a good lift every now and then. But for me, when it comes to my body, it needs me to nurture it like it is a newborn baby. So it's like just taking that moment to ask, what would feel good in my body today? Maybe it's a little bit of stretching, dancing, maybe it's some yoga, some qigong, maybe I need to get outside and get some sunlight. The way that I do this, and this is something that I'm practicing right now, is using my body like a pendulum. So, like, for example, when it comes to movement, I'll tune in and close my eyes and go, okay, how does yoga feel when I imagine myself doing yoga? And sometimes, like, for example, right now, I really don't feel like doing yoga. So I felt my gut kind of like clench a little bit. But if I were to think about going outside and getting some sun, that feels really, really good to me. So that is kind of what I do as far as like a movement practice every day. I don't force myself to move too much because I think that we can gain such greater health and connection to our bodies when we just listen instead of trying to force, which is a challenging thing to break out of. But I think if you guys are here, you're on the same page with me. So connecting with the body, then also connecting with pleasure and play in some way. So this could be making a really delicious meal, a delicious coffee, a smoothie, a plate of fruit. This could be a self-pleasure practice. This could be massaging your body. This could be just dancing to your favorite song. I think that, and this is something that I am really trying to incorporate in now. I haven't really necessarily prioritized play and pleasure in the ways that I think would be super beneficial for me. But that's something that I'm working on adding in now because the other two that I shared, I feel like I've really gotten them down. And so with pleasure and play, I think that is a huge part of the healing process is knowing that it's not all shadow work and that play is that balance that we need to bring in to make sure that we don't drown in that darkness and feel like we're never going to get to the light again. The light is here and we can call it in at any given time. So then the last thing, and this is like what I'm most excited about that I've been implementing lately, is some form of prayer and intention setting. And this can be so simple. It can be as simple as, you know, asking to be led by your higher self for the day. This can be as simple as just calling on your angels and guides and saying, I give full permission to allow you to intervene in ways that are in alignment with my highest good today. But one thing that I would really call on all of us to begin implementing is a prayer for humanity and really surrounding the earth in unconditional love. Something I like to say is, may all beings everywhere experience unconditional love. May they know that they are loved and that they are loved. And may all beings everywhere feel deep forgiveness for themselves and others. May all beings everywhere know the feeling of play and joy and safety and security. Really presencing the earth at this time with that love, sending that love to Mother Earth and sending that love to other humans and all creatures is so important at this time in a way that us sensitive souls can really do our part because sometimes we can feel really overwhelmed by the state of the world and not know how to help. But I think one simple prayer every single day is going to, and I have chills as I say that, it's going to make a huge ripple effect. So in whatever way that aligns for you, come up with your own prayers and set those intentions every day because that really does work. Another thing that I just remembered that I do is I know this is not like a new practice by any means, but I've actually been implementing it, which is speaking to my water in the shower and when I'm drinking. I just feel like that has been something that really landed in my life lately. And I have noticed a big difference in the way that I feel when I just tell my water, I love you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this clean water. So let's see. How do you manage healing and work? I think that all of us have different circumstances when it comes to, needing to meet our financial needs, needing to work in order to survive. And some of us, don't have as much time as others. But I think for me personally, what I've learned is that if I don't learn how to put myself first, then I'm never going to be able to break free from survival mode. I'm never going to be able to break free. Like, let's say you're in a job that you really don't want to be working anymore, but it pays the bills. I feel like it's so important still to prioritize at least just a couple of minutes a day to really remain connected to yourself, to really, again, calling on that support. It doesn't have to be this massive thing that takes up your entire day. But just making sure that you prioritize that in some way that you can is going to allow for change to happen. So if you feel like work is occupying too much of your time and you don't have enough time to devote to your healing, just devoting a little bit of time to that healing and then asking for support is going to allow more space and more time to open up for you. It doesn't have to occupy your entire day, although some days it can. If you're having a lot of heavy emotions come up, I know for me, there are some days where it can feel debilitating. And I feel lucky enough to be able to kind of coordinate my schedule to align with that and to cancel clients if I need to, or to push off tasks from one day to another. But if you don't have that opportunity, I just really would suggest creating a sacred time either in the morning or in the evening or both, where you really devote to these practices, because in any way that you allow them into your life, they will start to benefit you. And when you start to ask for more time to devote to that, you will be given it, because it is in alignment with the highest good of all for all of us to be doing this healing work right now. So really trust in that, and know that it doesn't have to be this, crazy huge thing where you're so focused on feeling and healing that you forget to, you know, devote time to your hobbies, your tasks, and the other things in your life. It doesn't have to be the only thing that you do in order for it to be effective. An evil spirit is fighting my soul. Can you please help pray for me? Yes, Kenny, sending you so much love and healing at this time. And remember that you have the power. You have the power to claim your sovereignty, your safety, your protection with unconditional love. If you can really connect to this love that you have within you and all around you, surrounding you in that right now, remember you are strong, and you can say, I do not consent. With love, I command you to leave now and return to source. Okay, and you're protected. Okay, let's see. Dance is so healing. Oh my God, I have been dancing so much, and that really does help me too. Even like if you're feeling really intense energies and you've got to get to work, put on your favorite song and just dance and shake and scream. That has been so helpful. I literally did that yesterday. I was like shaking and pounding the ground and yelling, and that really released so much for me because I've been feeling so chaotic. So it really does help. Let's see. Oh, thank you so much, Majorca. Why is it so hard to accept aging? I feel like there are some really deeply ingrained standards and fears that we have within us as humans that date back a very, very long time. I think that I don't know if you are a woman, but I think for women and men, but I just know, like, being a woman who is about to turn 30, I had people trying to push me getting Botox when I was 21. And like this fear is so intense, the fear of aging. Obviously, there's like the fear of death that comes with it, but I feel like mostly it has to do with appearance. Although that might just be my experience as a woman. I think that the fear around it can stem from, health issues and, losing, connection with your body, maybe going through some physical injuries, whatever it is. But for me, I'm going to kind of address around like looking old because that's the one that I feel like I've been doing a lot of work with. And I think that the fear around not meeting the standard of beauty that is set, the fear around, allowing yourself to, let's say, like have belly rolls or have like sagging skin in some way, I think is very much about our need to be loved and accepted by community. I also think it's very deeply ingrained in us that we have to do everything that we possibly can to attract a mate in and to have children and continue to procreate. So I think that has been like ingrained in us very deeply. But I think personally, it's a natural desire that we have to feel accepted and admired and loved. And I think we are taught that, not even that we are taught this, but for me personally, like I sought validation from other people because I was so disconnected from myself. And I learned at a very young age that there were certain things about the way that I looked or, the way that I acted that were not acceptable. So I spent the rest of my life up until I started this healing journey trying to become this perfect version of myself so that I could feel loved and so that I could feel accepted. And often we crave that because there are really deep wounds of self abandonment that we have, self rejection. And having that validation from the outer world, like someone saying, "Oh my God, you look so young, your skin looks so good." Or, I used to have people compliment me when I was really struggling with an eating disorder, really struggling with my weight, and I was really, really like so stick skinny. I used to have people compliment me all the time on that. And like looking back, like I had such an unhealthy relationship with food, yet I was receiving all of this validation. And so there's this validation that we receive that can feel almost like a drug that we need in order to survive. Because I feel like that validation is what helps to cover up those like deep initial wounds of maybe not getting the love that we needed, not getting the support that we needed in life, not feeling connected to ourselves and other humans. We seek out ways to feel connected, and that can be through that validation because when we feel seen by someone, it helps us to feel connected. And so, what I'm personally working on, and I think it's just an everyday journey, is really allowing myself to feel into the pain of that rejection and that initial abandonment that I felt in my life, and learning how to hold and validate myself, and also understanding that as leaders, right? And this is what actually gets me excited about this. As leaders, we have this responsibility to bring in this new wave of self acceptance. So, something that I try to do, like, in one of my vlogs, for example, just showing like my belly sitting down and showing like all of these different angles and textures on my skin and on my body, knowing that the younger version of me who was striving for validation and attention and affection, seeing that would have changed her life. And so, if we can embrace aging, if we can embrace all parts of this human process and realize, oh my God, like, why was I afraid of this? Like, I have the power to accept this. It makes you feel so powerful. And then knowing the ripple effect that you can create for others by accepting it and being like this embodied human who allows all parts of this human experience to flow instead of fighting against it, I think can really help with the aging process. And, of course, I'm going to go through my own phases with that too. Like, I'm 29 and I, have felt some fear around that even at my age as well, but I feel like I'm up for the challenge, I'm up for the challenge of how much can I love and accept myself in all of these phases and not feel like I need to do all of these things to fight against it, but just be free, because when we set ourselves free, we give permission to others to be free. Do you have to deal with a lot of ascension symptoms? For me, it's a full-time job. Yes, I feel like That is something that actually this past weekend, I was really going through it. I think I was sharing this so I tried this live out 3 times, and on one of the times I was sharing that I have Libra in my chart like crazy, like I'm a Libra sun, Libra moon, I'm a Cancer rising, but I'm like Libra, my north node's in Libra. So this full moon has been really, really intense for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys watching, it's been super intense as well. Um, and so I was experiencing like a lot of ascension symptoms. I've been experiencing like headaches, jaw pain, ear pain. Um, but for me, now that I really know that that's what it is, like I just trust my body so much and I've worked on cultivating this relationship with my body. I know that when something is kind of feeling like an ache, or if I start to feel, obviously this is not medical advice for you guys, but this is just how I interpret it. I actually see it as a good thing. Like this weekend, I had all of this chaotic energy coming up in me. And I literally at some points felt like I wanted to crawl out of my skin. And then when I took that moment of presence and stillness, I realized that it is a blessing to be able to feel that chaotic energy, to be a safe vessel for it, because I am transmuting it and it's moving through me and it's making space for these upgrades and these energies that I do want to call in to really come in and land at this time. So I think having that really strong mindset around, okay, I'm not going to let fear take over and tell me that these symptoms are something going wrong. I'm going to see it as an upgrade. I'm going to let myself feel this discomfort, and I'm going to use all of the tools that I've spent so much time mastering to really handle this with as much grace as possible. But also understanding that sometimes it is not going to feel graceful. And sometimes our human self is going to want to fight against it, like I did all weekend up until last night. I was like, okay, I need to surrender and stop trying to like force myself to feel good and get messy and into the chaos. And I literally let the chaos like take over my body and start growling and like just letting that messiness completely take over. And then I ended up going into a meditation where I was just letting out a lot of emotions. And that has really, really helped with the ascension symptoms. But yes, it does feel like a full-time job. And it feels like when this energy is coming up to be processed, I do have to sometimes drop everything and tend to that. What are your thoughts on addiction and being trapped? So this is actually something that I've been wanting to make a video on for a little while because I have had a lot of insight come to me around this, but I know that, for every person it's different, and depending on, your family history and how long this addiction has been and your ancestral history, it can be really, really intense. And I don't intend to simplify it at all with this example. But the way that I see addiction is that we are born into this world with core needs. We need love, security, safety, connection. As humans, we need these things. And often in our society, in the way that our world is structured, we do not get access to these things because maybe we have parents who are overworked, who are drowning in their own trauma. They can't care for us. Maybe we don't have parents. Maybe we don't have caretakers available to us. Maybe for whatever reason, these deep core needs do not get met. And so this makes us feel like we are missing something, like we are not whole. And often it can lead us to abandon ourselves in a way to try to get those needs met. And I think when we are reliant on a substance or we're addicted to a certain pattern of behavior, it is simply a part of ourselves doing their best to try to get that need met. Now, unfortunately, with a lot of these substances, it can keep us in this loop where we feel like we need them because we're trying to get the need met, but the substance causes pain in our lives. It causes us to, act out in certain ways, or even, allow in negative energies that control us. And it can kind of lead us down a really dark and negative spiral, and it can be so difficult to break yourself out of. But I think that it's really important to understand that the part of you that is seeking out that thing that you're addicted to, whether it be social media or alcohol or drugs, anything in between, that part of you has a need. And you never learned how to give yourself that. You felt like you've had a lack of that in your life. And so I think the first part to healing, at least for me, with the things that I've struggled with, has been learning how to rebuild that connection with myself enough so that I can find out what is it that I really need? Why am I turning to this substance? Do I feel like I can't break free from this day after day, even though I know it's not good for me? Why do I keep going back? Getting curious. Because as long as there's shame surrounding it and judgment surrounding it, we're not going to be able to get to the root of it. We're not going to be able to really find out why, because that shame keeps us disconnected from ourselves. So, first, understanding there's a part of you that's trying to get a core need met and you deserve to have that need met. Secondly, rebuilding that connection with yourself and saying, I love you and I accept you. And often that needs to happen while you're still participating in the behavior or the cycle that you don't want to be participating in anymore. When we bring unconditional love to ourselves, even when we're not doing the things that we want to do, this is what helps to recreate that connection and build self trust again, enough to really find the root of that pain. And sometimes that pain stems from generations and generations of people in your family who could never figure it out. So be patient with yourself. And I think that for everyone, the process is going to look different. But I think that you really can't go wrong with surrounding yourself in so much love and wanting to understand yourself. And then from there, I think finding a balance again of learning how to reparent yourself essentially, and bringing in that healthy masculine energy of that knows how to set limits, but also bringing in that healthy divine feminine energy that is compassionate and understanding, and learning how to find a way to shift out of that cycle that feels not so abrupt in a way, like that it's like an experiment. Okay, let's try this. Maybe this will help us. And I'm going to tend to myself when I'm feeling this ache for this thing that provides me with the dopamine or whatever it is. I'm going to really tend to myself and try to understand myself and kind of do this dance. So that's really my take on it. I'm still experimenting with it on my own. And yeah, I'm curious what you guys are thinking about this addiction loop that so many of us find ourselves in. If you resonate with it stemming from that core need that's unmet, very curious, because that's a video I've wanted to make for a while, but I feel like I'm still like doing personal research. Okay. Yay. So glad you liked it. Hmm, do you think being in your feminine energy helps in healing? How? Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I feel like if you look at the imbalance on Earth right now in this phase that we're in, masculine energy has really taken over, right? I think we can objectively kind of see that most of the world operates dominantly in that very, very mind dominated, doing a lot, taking a lot of action, not really a ton of time for stillness, that yin energy. And it's led us to a place where we really don't know how valuable stillness and slowness is. We really have been completely disconnected to from our psychic abilities, which we all have. We all have these beautiful internal senses that can help to guide us through our lives, our intuition, that gut feeling that tells us when something is right or wrong for us. We all have access to psychic abilities in our own ways. And the fact that most humans walking around don't know that is just a clue of how dismissed feminine energy has been, how we haven't really seen its genius or its power. And so I think personally that inviting feminine energy into your life, that stillness, it is what allows space for reconnection to the lost parts of ourselves. It's what allows space for us to move energy through us. Because I always get this message: energy moves quickly when you move slowly. So if you have certain beliefs or emotions within you that you never had the safety or space to process, going into that feminine energy of yin, that stillness, that connection with your womb, your gut, your heart, and presencing yourself deeply without needing to do anything is what allows that energy to move through. And, calling in that nurturing, mothering energy to hold you as that energy moves through you. I think that's the healing that the world needs. Because not only do we get a chance to move those stagnant emotions through us, but underneath that, we then create a connection to that internal wisdom that helps us to co-create with the divine in our lives and really remember who we are. Remember that we're not just this human avatar, but that our souls are eternal and we have so much wisdom. And I really do feel like it's the feminine energy that allows us to gain access to that wisdom that will support the earth in its healing process, because what we feel and heal within is reflected in our external world, and it begins to create this ripple effect through the collective. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still working on really honoring when I'm needing to be in that feminine energy, because I do have this programming. When I'm super productive, I feel like happier because I've been programmed to think that I'm doing better when I'm more productive. And sometimes when I have those days where I don't really feel like doing much and I need to honor that slowness and stillness, I think something's wrong because I'm not called to do anything, when in reality, I'm really just called to be more in that feminine energy and to embrace that more. And so, yeah, that's something that I'm really working on right now, but I'm slowly but surely walking that path and allowing myself to spend days really in a lot of stillness. And yeah, thank you so much for watching my vlog. To those of you guys who watched it, that really is a day of being as much in my feminine as possible. So let's see, what else do we have? Hi, Rick. So happy to have you here. I'm a 28-year-old woman. Thank you for sharing, explaining, but basically just accepting being human and loving myself. Yes, we're human. And, you know, I personally think that the glow that comes when we love ourselves and nurture ourselves and care for ourselves outweighs being perfect, you know? So I think that's so important. And I think it will help other humans everywhere who struggle. Libras like astrology. I do like astrology. I don't know a ton about it, but I do usually resonate with any astrological readings that I get. And do you make the video? Okay, I'll make the video once I really I'll tune into some more guidance around the addiction and the loops, and hopefully make a video about that in the future. Pop. Hi, any insight into my vibe? I feel that you have a big heart. That's what I feel. I feel like a fluttering into my heart. So that's what I'm feeling for you. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad that you find the vlogs helpful. They are definitely a challenge to put out there. Every time I'm like, wow, this is really like the insight into my true life. Like, this is really what I go through on a daily basis. So, to those of you who watch those, it means so much to me because they take a lot of time to film and edit, but also they just take a lot of courage, because like literally the first vlog that I ever posted, I almost had like I did have a little bit of like an emotional breakdown after posting it, because I think for so long, like I posted on social media for years, but I always had a mask on. I was always trying to put my most perfect self forward, and 3333 as I say that. Now I've taken the mask off and it's so much more vulnerable to put yourself out there. So like I can't even begin to explain how beautiful it is to connect with you guys over that. It's just so different than connecting over surface level posts. Like, this is me. This is literally what I spend a lot of my time doing and what it looks like when my deepest wounds are triggered. So I'm just so grateful for you guys. Jasper, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, as cells of these planets, we are getting there step by step. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that beautiful comment. I love you guys so much. I'm so, so grateful to be connecting with you. So grateful that this live ended up working. I am actually going on a trip for my boyfriend's 30th birthday this week. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to post. I'm really just going to let myself get inspired. I'm gonna be in the forest, so maybe I'll try to take a video in the forest or maybe do some type of vlog when I'm there, but it's just been so beautiful to connect with you guys today. I do have to go to an appointment now, but, um, really just know that the one thing I wanted to share about the energy at this time is that there's going to be waves of intense discomfort. And if we can see these as upgrades, if we can see this as that stagnant energy moving through our system and surround it in so much love, have those temper tantrums, let that chaotic energy move through your body, but know that you literally couldn't go back even if you tried. You are on this ascension path. You are on this path of aligning with unity consciousness. And I'm right here with you. I am so incredibly grateful to be doing this work with you guys right by your side. And yeah, I just love you. Thank you for being here on this live with me today. If you enjoyed it, let me know. I have like a post on my community. So once this ends, if you have any reflections that come up or if you have any questions you want to ask for the next one, I think I want to do this a little more consistently because it just feels so nice to like have you guys right here with me in the chat. So I love you guys so much. And I hope you are surrounding yourself in so much unconditional love. And yes, I will remember to dance. You guys remember to dance too. Let's invite that play in because I really feel like that's going to be so healing. So love you guys so much. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.